One of the most repeated criticisms of Dreams is that because creators are unable to monetize creations, using the tools to make anything is a waste of time. Real quick, it's worth pointing out that making money was never the point of Dreams. Non-creatives really seem to struggle with the idea that creative people actually enjoy the creative process. Dreams was designed around the pillars of creative expression, collaboration, and community. Making stuff, sharing it, and then other creators using what you made to make their own creations is the gameplay loop of Dreams. And every system in the game is designed in service of that loop, not monetization. This has led to something of a schism in the Dreams community. There are those who want to keep the integrity of Media Molecule's original vision, and then there are people who, unsurprisingly, wouldn't mind getting paid doing something they love. But whether you like it or not, some people are already cashing in. You see, contrary to popular belief, you can in fact monetize creations made in Dreams. Not exactly how you'd expect, after all there is no in-game monetization system. But there are dozens of ways to turn your creations into cold, hard cash outside of the game. And it's all above board as well. There's even an official application process Media Molecule has had set up almost since day one that is rarely ever talked about. As a general rule of thumb, if you're planning on using Dreams for business purposes, you should be applying to Media Molecule's beta evaluation to make them aware. We're going to be getting into exactly what that involves in just a second, but it's worth quickly mentioning there is an exception to this rule. Media Molecule have confirmed there is no need to sign up to the evaluation process if you are merely a content creator on YouTube or Twitch, as players already have permission to upload footage from Dreams and monetize it on those specific platforms. Now you might be asking, what's the big deal? You can also do this with almost every other game ever made. But with Dreams, you have the option of not just uploading footage of gameplay, but also the creation process itself. It's something Elka Gaming, the creator of 4 Seasons, a fan-created Avatar game, has found tremendous success doing. Elka started by uploading time-lapses of the creation process, and before long the popularity of these videos exploded, to the point where Elka, who had no previous experience in games development, was able to leave their regular job and begin development of the game full-time, which remains a true testament to the power of Dreams. Whether you're making a game, movies, or music in Dreams, YouTube and Twitch are a great place to start monetizing your creations, but ultimately your revenue will be tied to how many views you can generate, and getting your channel to a point where they can be monetized is a challenge in of itself. Luckily, there are a number of ways you can supplement these earnings, and that is where Media Molecule's beta evaluation comes into play. As we said, Media Molecule's official position is if you're using Dreams for business purposes in any way, you need to be applying to the beta evaluation process. Not doing so risks breaching Sony's terms of service, risks the banning of your PSN account, and who knows what other legal shenanigans we're not qualified to talk about. You can find a link to the application process in the video description below. Applications are judged based on viability, requisite skills to complete the project, and you being a member of the Dreams community in good standing. There are a number of terms and conditions you'll need to read through, which include things like being over the age of 18, agreeing to give Media Molecule updates on the project, and ensuring all included content does not contain any third-party intellectual property rights. That last one is super important. Actually, scratch that, all of the terms and conditions are really important, and if you're serious about using Dreams for business purposes, you need to read through them all very carefully before you apply. After this, the application process looks relatively painless. You must provide a detailed description of the project, including your proposed usage of Dreams, the proposed output, and how the final creation will be used. the target audience for your creation, any third-party involvement, and the expected time frame it would take to complete the project. Admittedly, the process and its real-world application is a little vague. Media Molecule has said the reason this process is in beta is because they themselves are still learning how people want to use Dreams for commercial purposes and what they need to do to make it possible. If by the end of this video you still have questions, I suggest contacting Media Molecule directly at dreamsevaluation@mediamolecule.com. Now, exporting in Dreams is currently limited to images, audio, and video, because these are all formats you can rip directly from your PlayStation. Bear in mind, Media Molecule aren't going to be able to help you export your game outside of Dreams. Not yet anyway, but more on that in a little bit. First things first though, let's consider the export options that are available. While images, audio and video sounds very limiting at first, they actually open up a surprisingly huge range of different business possibilities. When it comes to examples of utilising Dreams as a business tool, there's no finer inspiration than the man, the myth, the legend, Martin Nebelong. Martin is a professional artist who has proven time and time again that Dreams can be used as a professional tool. These days, Martin does all of his artwork, including his professional work for clients, exclusively in Dreams. No mouse, no keyboard, just a PlayStation and Dreams. Martin's made artwork used in Warhammer games, he's taught game development students, and he's made commission after commission for clients, all using Dreams. We took a peek at Martin's Twitter, which, by the way, you should definitely follow if you like your jaw dropped on a daily basis, and Martin has advocated using Dreams to make sellable artwork, animatics, gameplay mockups, music videos and illustrations. Basically, where the end product is an image, video or audio, you can sell it outside of Dreams. Now, we live in an increasingly digital world and the possibilities grow every single day for what you can make with those free formats. Shirts, posters, mugs, they're the tip of the iceberg. Creators are making music albums in Dreams and selling them on Spotify. You can design the cover for that album in Dreams. Tap Giles is a well-known member of the Dreams community who, through their Patreon, earns money making tutorial videos on the Dreams creation tools. You can sell artwork on Redbubble or Etsy or DeviantArt. You can make a short film, a graphic novel, you can make a business commercial, you could make a TV show in Dreams. Speaking of which, Noguchi's Bell is an animated series made by Cybersheep Film, and it's easily one of Dreams' most impressive creations. And no, I don't mean this looks really good for something made in Dreams. Noguchi's Bell would look amazing anywhere. The first episode was released back in February this year, and the Dreams community was wowed over by the impressive animation, cinematography, and the storytelling on offer. The reaction was so positive, Cybersheep Film have announced they're making a 15-episode season, and after applying to Media Molecule's beta evaluation, the project is officially making its way to Kickstarter. A number of heavy hitters from the Dreams community have joined the project Avengers style, including Martin Nebelong and Tap Giles, and everything they've teased so far looks incredibly exciting. We're going to be keeping a very close eye on the Kickstarter as it launches. It's a first for Dreams and the project shows a great deal of promise. For more information on Noguchi's Bell, make sure you subscribe to Ugly Sofa Gaming. While Media Molecule's beta evaluation mostly seems interested in business ideas that involve exporting from Dreams itself, it's also worth mentioning Dreams is a tool you can use to make your own IP and start building a brand. Media Molecule have confirmed creators own the IP for any original creation they themselves make in Dreams. We can't help but look at something like Pig Detective, a sarcastic, anthropomorphic detective made in the early days of Dreams, which has amassed something of a cult following, is prime porg for business opportunities outside and even away from Dreams, such as physical plushies, clothing, board games. Rather than the image, video or audio, the IP itself is something that could gain value outside of Dreams. On the other side of the coin, we've spotted a number of creators making money selling in-game digital content, such as custom sculptures, paintings and assets. It's also quite common to see game makers in Dreams, including signposting to their Patreon pages asking for donations for support. Now, these non-export examples fall into more of a grey area, and queries on the legitimacy of selling content this way is probably best directed towards Media Molecule and their evaluation process. Again, if money is changing hands, you really need to be checking you have permission. Now, maybe you're looking for more than just quick cash. Could Dreams help you find a new career? Media Molecule are hiring top creators from the community. In fact, they posted some new positions very recently, asking for expert knowledge of the Dreams tool. But bear in mind, these roles are going to be extremely competitive. If you are serious about getting into either the games industry or another creative occupation, don't discredit the value of Dreams has as a tool. A lot of people might scoff at that advice and suggest your time is better spent learning a more traditional game development engine. And of course, you should definitely learn traditional game making skills if you want to work in the industry. But Dreams is a fantastic piece of kit to quickly workshop ideas, learn game design skills, lighting tricks, or start developing your eye for artistic composition. Not to mention, you can very quickly amass an impressive looking portfolio of work. Dreams has already helped other creators enter the industry, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
I'm wrong, but I think some of the designers we've got here that come from the Little Big Planet community might not even be working in the games industry necessarily. I don't know. Maybe that's too arrogant. I don't know. But
well, we know they got away.
That's certainly that's always been
in.
like a very concrete bullet point, if you like.
If you've made it this far, you might be asking yourself, why is there no official in-game monetization feature? Why isn't game exporting an option? Surely both of these features would be massive for Dreams. The problem is these features are not something that could be implemented overnight. There's no monetization switch Media Molecule can simply flip. And as we said earlier, the gameplay loop of Dreams, and much of the power of the engine, lies in this collaborative community experience. And when you really start to think about how an in-game monetization system would actually work, it actually leads to a lot of awkward questions. For example, if I were to make and sell a game using Dreams, and my game contains a rock that you made, does that mean you get a share of my revenue? Now let's say it took you 10 minutes to make the rock, but I also use a complicated first-person shooter logic system that took someone else 100 hours to make. Does that person get the same share as you and your rock? Now factor in how many multiple creators could have collaborated on a single asset, and that the asset they designed could have been made from yet another person's creation, and very quickly you start to see just how confusing a one-size-fits-all monetization model would end up being for Dreams. The reason there's no in-game monetization or game exporting is because I don't think Media Molecule has the answers to all of these questions yet. But. As always, it's worth considering it's still really early days for Dreams. We're big believers that Dreams has the potential to radically change and evolve as time goes by. More monetization options, perhaps even in-game monetization, could become available in the future. In the past, I've predicted the Dreams creation engine might one day be repurposed under a subscription model with the benefit of exporting and licensing. Media Molecule themselves have vaguely teased the idea of one day allowing creators to publish their creations outside of Dreams, but they also plainly admit it's very complicated. As for the options available now, while you can definitely make money playing Dreams, it's by no means a get-rich-quick scheme. No matter which of the avenues we've talked about you decide to take, bear in mind it's also going to take a heck of a lot of work. Make sure you really do have a passion for the creative process and that you do enjoy making things in Dreams. If not, well, there are easier ways to make money, such as selling your bodily fluid or forming a gambling habit. We'd really love to hear what you think in the comments below. Are you for or against monetization in Dreams creations? Is game exporting a fantasy or inevitable? If you're looking for more inspiration on how to make money in Dreams, here's a quick list of some of the ideas mentioned in this video and a couple more we threw in for fun.